The 6P was never really compared to the S6 Edge, despite the similar platforms and specifications. So today we're going to do that. Hi guys, my name is Ryan Thomas with Feltech, and this is my head-to-head. Let's go. There aren't really any standout issues to point out apart from the S6 Edge's software, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later on, but both came out in 2015 and will cost around £250 for one in good condition. The designs of these phones are different, with the S6 Edge rocking a glass sandwich design, which means that glass on front and back with a metal rail around the outside, which every phone is doing under the sun nowadays, even Apple going back to this design with their 8 and their 10. Despite not being the first generation of Samsung's S flagship, the design of the S6 Edge is very similar to pretty much every S flagship to date. As for the 6P, it's a metal slab. The thing is chunkier, bigger, I like it. Anyway, the 6P is definitely more solidly built, but you do get the downside of a larger and heavier phone. The bezels are very small on the S6 Edge, which make me feel like the overall display is bigger, but it's not. The display really does pop with smaller bezels, which I feel is really good on the S6 Edge, although you do get those awesome chamfers and flat sides, which I feel is a little bit more ergonomic on the 6P. Anyway, talking screens, you're getting a QHD AMOLED display on both, but the Huawei handset is going to give you a slightly larger 5.7 inch display as opposed to the 5.1 inch on the S6 Edge. This puts the two phones in very different size classes. For content consumption, the 5.7 inch panel will give you a better experience as it has a larger size, as well as the fact you have stereo front firing speakers, which makes the video just look better because you've got better sound. So firstly, the 5.7 inch panel will give you a gorgeous range of colours and contrast ratio that's saturated and make everything you do on the device look better, but not so accurate as maybe an IPS panel. The 5.1 inch panel is sharper and thus will give you a better VR experience, but is smaller, so I don't like watching videos on it as much as I like watching videos on the larger 6P. It's still great though, but again, it's let down by its size and the fact that its speaker doesn't really complement it. You can't go wrong with any of these cameras. You pick either the S6 Edge for the sharpness with extra megapixels, or the 6P for better low light performance. The Samsung is rocking a 16 megapixel sensor with f1.9 glass and can shoot UHD at 30 FPS and slow motion at 720p at 120 FPS. Whereas the Nexus can shoot super slow mo with double the frames at 720p and 240 FPS and can shoot UHD video as well. The S6 Edge comes with optical image stabilization where the 6P doesn't, so it's a real toss up. Personally, I'd go 6P as I really like having that big 5.7 inch viewfinder, although Samsung's camera app is arguably the best in the business. There's never really any competition between a Samsung and a non-Samsung selfie camera. The 6P's 8 megapixel front shooter is for sure sharper, but the S6 Edge's 5 megapixel shooter has a wide lens. I obsess over their front glass, I swear. The performance specs of these phones are very similar, with both running Snapdragon 810s in the US and 3GB of RAM in both. Both are available in the same storage configs, and because Samsung drops the SD card reader ball as every other Galaxy S flagship did have a micro SD card reader. Since these two are just 2 generations old, you should get a decent amount of life out of them. They will work perfectly well for the next year or so, with the 6P lasting you slightly longer if you install custom software on it. The S6 Edge can run a little bit hot, so pick up the 6P in my opinion. Nougat is available on both right now, but Oreo will be released for the 6P only and not the S6 Edge. So watch out for the late software updates, but again, you can install your own stuff if you see fit. In the battery life department, you're getting a 2600 mAh battery in the S6 Edge's petite body, which combined with recent software updates isn't as bad as it was and is now racking you up a little bit more screen on time. But the better optimized 6P with its Goliath and 3450 mAh battery will keep you going longer throughout the day thanks to Doze and Google's optimizations. The S6 Edge's speaker was an improvement on the S5 and is actually better than the S7 Edge's due to IP68 water resistance. It's no match for the pair of speakers on the front of the 6P though, which will give you a much better experience, especially when watching films or TV. Micro USB-B on the S6 Edge is great, but Type-C on the 6P is just that little bit better, although not 3.0 compliant, so the speed is the same. Both will have headphone jacks and you are going to get some kind of quick charging on both. The S6 Edge is Qi wireless certified out of the box for your wireless charging needs, where the 6P isn't due to its metal chassis. Both are rocking fingerprint scanners, with the Samsung putting theirs on the front and Huawei putting theirs on the back, which I actually prefer. Both are quick and responsive, but the 6P just takes that one for me. So for features, you're getting a heart rate sensor on the back of the S6 Edge as well as wireless charging, which gives you more features compared to the 6P. It's whether you want the quantity or quality of features IMO. If I had to pick one, I would say the 6P for its screen, speakers, scanner placement and battery life. So you can opt for the S6 Edge for its way better feature set and arguably nicer design. Anyway guys, I've been Ryan Thomas, you guys have been awesome. Please do like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, comment any thoughts below, and please do subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. Mine has been Ryan Thomas, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.